Got the rear member out of the car, and just gonna clean it up, give it a spray or coating of something, and put the diff in it, rear arms, all that sort of prep stuff. But this is the big reason why you mess with these things. Everyone knows the stock rubber bushings are no good, but we got one that's cracked almost all the way through, two that's cracked pretty darn good. Oh, one in good condition, and one that's completely severed and has separated. So those are definitely high priority. Might do some sort of boxing or something to reinforce the mounting points, or on the back where it cracks, stuff like that. And then we'll probably just cut up some rings to weld in to make solid, you know, essentially solid bushings with possibly one spacer above it to you space it down, or put it under it and space it up. So yeah, let's get this dirty, rusty, crusty old guy all cleaned up and give it a crap like that. Oh, and a side note, people think, oh man, my e-brake sucks, what's going on? These brackets are really important. They keep tension on the cable, or they keep the cable in a fixed position, so that way the inner cable can slide. So this holds the sheath, I guess, what do you want to call it, in its position, and then this can then move, I guess, what is it, relative to that? So if you're doing a two-piston, we'll just say two-piston rear brake upgrade, and you're putting the different cables in, if you don't mount it to the subframe, you're going to have issues. And then there's different lengths, and you can make a little spacer plate up here which will help compensate for some of that length as well. But these brackets that are mounted to the subframe, they are essential. Next piece after the gas tank is the rear member. We've got it painted and cleaned up, so it's no more that crusty rustiness that it was. And then cleaned up the knuckles and lower arms, axles as well. Ditched the stock blown out rubber bushings, got some diff mounts. I don't know, I guess the standard type, whatever you call it. Not the raising, not the lowering style. Just the simple, I don't know, evenly spaced style. I'm not sure what you call it, but I kind of prefer that setup just because I'm not going crazy low and I'm not trying to do anything crazy, and it keeps the car legal for whatever reason it should be legal. And we added KTS rear upper arms. I brought those back with me. I had picked those up just because I got a good deal on them. And then got some aftermarket traction and tow rods that, I don't know, they look to be homemade, but they also look to be pretty good quality, so I'm gonna run those. We'll see how that goes. Peak Performance, if anybody remembers Peak Performance from back in the day, they're probably just ARP or something like that, but Peak Performance extended studs all around, I did years ago on. And next up for the rear diff, we've got a cause two-way going in the housing at the moment. You can see we got our micrometer set up, checking backlash. Got it installed with the shims that were in there, and you can hear there's play going on. So that's not what you want. It's going to wear things out a lot faster. So we're going to order the correct shim it needs. It looks like it needs like a 2.35 mil shim to shore that up and get it to be in the correct position. Keep things happy there. But yeah, cause two-way. And we were running a ABS housing to give us a sensor input or output, I suppose it should be. Give us a sensor speed or tack, or I guess however it would be configured, but yeah, just so that we can have a speed sensor or some sort of sensor going back to the ECU when we set up all that stuff. Otherwise, pretty standard, you know, upgrade parts. So for the time being, we are halted, waiting on the shim, and I don't know, might just throw the whole rest of it in there just to get it out of the way off the floor. Throwing a diff in under the car is not a terrible job, so it might just be easier to do it later. Throwing a member in without a diff to support it, that would be a worse job, but it'll just help clear up space. So I think next up, as you can see under there, there's one pedal. Probably gonna start installing the pedals and the brake setup. Get some of that stuff in there again just to clear up space and get things moving along. Just getting the rear diff mounts removed to swap out for solid mounts. And here's the insert that came out. I don't know why everyone online, you see them always lighting their bushings on fire. This is the same process I used when I did the solid removal of the subframe mounting bushings. Same process and then put in the solid bushings. So yeah, this, imagine that's back in place as such. There's rubber around it, same as on the mounting points. Rubber around the center bolt area, and then just used a drill and drilled a bunch of holes around that. And then now I'm using a jigsaw right there with a metal blade just to go through and cut the remaining attached portions of rubber, and then that easily removes with the little tap of a hammer. Knocks that piece out, and then you still have the rubber on here, but it doesn't matter. You just need to get this sleeve. You can see there's the bushing sleeve here, and then this is actual subframe here. So you just got to get that bushing sleeve out, and then I did the same thing on the subframe mounting points. Just used the jigsaw. I think I used the Sawzall for that, but they're a little bit bigger. Just to score the sides here, and then that makes a weak point. You can come in with, I kind of started on this one already, come in with a hammer, and then it'll kind of fold in on itself then. And then it'll just pop right out. But I see everyone lighting them on fire online. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know, it just makes a mess and stinks and all that stuff. So maybe it's an S13 thing. I read somewhere you got to keep the sleeve for certain bushings. So whatever the case may be, this process works really well if you're going to solid aluminum bushings where you can ditch that sleeve. So just want to throw it out there. You don't want to have to light them on fire. Just measure your bushing size to your hole size and match up what you need to remove.